Hello, this is Caroline Stagg recording my Coach of Excellence video. Why did I become a coach? I was looking for a new challenge. I'd had a corporate career in communications and publishing, and running up to that time, the internet had totally changed what it meant to be a journalist and an editor, and I was just sort of like not very connected with what that was anymore. Also had a period of time when I was looking after my parents, but when they became ill before they died. And after that, I was really looking for a new challenge. And I was stuck. I didn't really know what to do, but then I had a couple of public board roles. I was a governor in schools, and I realised that those roles require you to be very strategic. And the way that I was strategic in those roles, I realised was a kind of coaching approach. So I would ask open-ended questions and things like that. And then I overheard myself saying a couple of times, do you know, the only work that I do that I enjoy is the work I do for free. And I heard myself saying that a couple of times, and then I had a thought about that, and I thought, actually, what I need to do is do that. It felt so right. My degree's in psychology. There were so many reasons why it would work for me. I couldn't understand why I hadn't come across it before, why it hadn't occurred to me before. And so I just took a leap and enrolled in a coach training program, 2 diplomas, personal performance coaching and corporate and executive coaching. At that point, and then I then went on to do transformational coaching and NLP and all sorts of things, but that was really what kick-started it, and it just felt so right, and I was very pleased to have started to make the move. So how I developed a coaching niche was really based on my psychology background, my work with boards, and I'd had a full corporate career. I'd managed teams. I'd kind of coached teams. I hadn't known that's what I was doing at the time. People would naturally approach me for advice, and a friend of mine kept calling me Yoda, which I thought was rather sweet, and actually that kind of resonated. So people naturally came to me because they saw me as somebody who would help them, which was great and gave me lots of confidence, and it gave me a lot of opportunity to try out formal coaching techniques. And how I developed that niche was that I realised that there was a lot of formal corporate work that was very to do with people's structured job descriptions and how they were performing and all the analytics around performance. But I realised that there was a kind of need for a softer edge in coaching, in business. And so that's where I started to move towards. So what I would say I do is like holistic business coaching, which is, it takes into account your whole life and all the pressures that you have on from various areas of life. So it is about your performance, but it's also about what works for you and how you make work for you. And so it deals with a lot of the kind of not metrically quite calculable stuff. So I found that people are really interested in bringing their whole selves to work, and so I work, on the person and on whatever their manager might want to get out of them as well. And that seems to be really effective. I think people really enjoy that. They feel like they're getting something for themselves as well as something for their work. And so that's the direction I've been going in. I did try to do that in the educational space for quite a long time because that's something that's very important to me, and being a school governor for a long time. But I found it difficult to monetize, even though I love working with people at that level. I love working with school leadership teams, and what I've decided is that is the work that I'll still give back, and that's the way that I'll give back now, is by coaching teams for free. So when I first started, I'd done my diplomas, and I'd been given very sort of structured way of structuring coaching sessions in a very sort of specific way. And I looked at a couple, and there's a lot of more models that come out of the corporate and executive space as well, about all different models. And I stuck quite rigidly to one or two models to start off with. And then as I started going deeper into different kinds of training, that opened up a lot of stuff for me and about different techniques. And given the work that I'm doing, and as I said before, in the sort of the intersection of the business and person space, I started to play with that a bit, and I did some work with transformational coaching, and I found that now, because I've been coaching for quite a long time and I've done a lot of professional development, that I can sort of pluck, things that work for that person in that moment, in that time. So I don't ever start a coaching session with a rigid structure, other than to sort of look at what's been going well and what hasn't been going well for that person since I last spoke to them. And then I just move in with whatever feels right for them. So I do what works, is what I say. I show up and I do what works. But that is something that I have developed over time, and I wouldn't have got there without using the structures in the first place. So yeah, I would say that that's what I do differently now. How do I see myself evolving as a coach over the next few years? I really enjoy working at that sort of higher end with CEOs and presidents, vice presidents, that kind of thing. I feel like I have a lot to give them on that softer side, and also on their business side. So I work on a kind of whole person level, and I help them get the most out of their life and their work life. And I strongly believe that those skills are what give them the strength to go on and actually be incredibly successful, that it all has to come together before you can reach those sort of heights of success. And that I think that's the sort of interest that I get from those sort of people as well. So I will definitely go on and develop that. It's something that really engages me, and I think my clients get a lot out of it. So I find that very rewarding. I probably will develop my online offer. I have an online offer at the moment, but I'll probably develop that, and I'll probably look at. What I'd love to do is do some sort of masterminding with those sort of higher end people. I'd love to get a mixture of people from different sort of sectors to be working together and see what the common areas for development for them are, and how actually you can give them opportunities if you can bring them all together for sort of half-day seminars and that kind of thing, what the common problems are, and actually how they can network together, and how they can widen their network, and maybe collaborate and make partnerships out of that. I think that'd be ideal for me. I'd love that. How do I see the coaching industry evolving over the next 2 to 3 years? I think I see the coaching industry requiring more accreditation from potential coaches. I think that will make it easier for people to get chosen as coaches. So I do see that there will be sort of formal accreditations will be more important, I think, as they are becoming already. I think that will continue. I think what I do see is a lot of coaches becoming coach trainers, and I'm not sure that there is that. I think that could saturate the market. I think that I'm not sure that there's going to be the demand for the number of coaches that you would expect, given that everybody is teaching coaches how to coach. It could well be that doesn't turn out to be as good a coaching niche, perhaps, as people will be thinking right now. That's what I would say. I think, I could be completely wrong. It could, the whole coaching market could expand hugely as it has in the States. We don't have that in this country, and I work with some people in the States online, doing video calls and things like that. There's a greater appetite for it than there is in this country. So I suppose as coaches, if we want to have great coaching work lives, we need to raise the profile of what good coaching looks like and what it can bring to industry or whatever sector it is that you work in, whether it's mental health or whatever you choose. It would be fabulous for us all to help expand people's awareness of what can be achieved through coaching. Thank you.